Hello everybody, it is Sam here from the Menza channel and welcome to episode 2 of the Rovers podcast. This episode is going to be a bit more interesting because we're actually getting into some football content, which is really what this is all about. We're also going to have a chat later on the show with the legendary Caden McDonald as he releases some news that I don't think many people expected. Anyway, let's get straight into footy this week. Hello everybody and welcome to Footy this week. So we'll start off with two of the pre-season games that I really enjoyed. We're only going to look at two because I feel like these two are maybe the most interesting pre-season games I've ever seen. So we'll start off with Hawthorn against Collingwood, 100 to 106. The way we played against Geelong was so bad. It's the worst football I've ever seen Hawthorn play, to be quite honest. But seeing, Hawthorn put up a fight against the Pies, it makes me feel better. After, I've been feeling pretty awful about the Hawks quite recently. Seeing a game go down to the wire, it makes you feel a bit better. It gives you a bit of hope coming into the season. Fergus Green with 3 goals. Jesus, what a pick up that man is. I talked about him in my Players I'm Most Excited to Watch About video. Jesus Christ, he is a gun going into the future. And of course, Brody Mychek from Collingwood, already a settled superstar for the Pies. And the Pies, I know they didn't have their full team out there, but, they did okay. I honestly thought they'd do a bit better, but it seems like whenever Hawthorn play Collingwood, it is always a pretty close game. We'll head on to disposals. James Warple, best game I've seen James Warple play in a really, really long time. As I said in my video, 2019 was the last time I saw him play a decent game of football. So great to see him get back in form. He did some really great things out there, and for Collingwood, absolute star Jordan De Goey. He's going to have a great year coming into 2023, and he's already showing the impact that he has on games. And then the other game I wanted to have a look at was Brisbane versus Geelong, 91 to 45. McCarthy with the 2 goals. He's looking to be an absolute superstar this year in the forward line. Tyson Stengel with the 2 goals. He's already settled. He is a gun player coming into this year, and I think everyone knows that. He's going to have a great year this year, definitely his best year coming into 2023. Disposals, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Lockie Neal with 31. He's going to have an amazing year. And a bit unexpected, Graham Myers with only the 23 disposals for the top disposals for Geelong, which is pretty odd considering that they're one of the better teams. Of course, they don't have their full team out there. But honestly, it's pretty interesting to see that Brisbane beat Geelong. I know it's only a practice match, but this could be alluding to the future that Brisbane is a better team than Geelong. Brisbane have the better chance of winning the premiership. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about with footy this week. And we will now get on to the next bit of the podcast. So thanks everyone for watching. All right, everyone, We are now here with the legendary Caden McDonald. How are we?
Menza, I am great, mate. Really appreciate you getting me on the channel and the show. I've been watching you for a little while now, so really pumped to be on and pumped to chat to you.
Yeah, we are pumped to have you on. This series that I'm doing is heavily inspired by Goes Alright, which I love watching. I loved watching. I watch it every week. So yeah, I'm super excited to get into this. But first off, I'll ask you about your Melbourne Demons. You had a pretty disappointing finals trip last year. How do you think you're going to go in 2023?
They're looking good at the minute. I know it's only pre-season and you can't get too excited over practice games, but they're looking fitter, they're looking stronger, they're looking primed for a big year. I think they'll finish top 4, fingers crossed. I grew up supporting the D's when they weren't that great, and just to know that we've been in and around the top 4 over the last 5 years now, it's exciting. It's exciting supporting a team, during a stage of their sort of lifespan where they're quite successful. So hopefully top 4 again, and then I reckon we could push it deep into September. I hope they can make another grand final and have a crack at knocking whoever else is in there off. Because I haven't seen one in the flesh. I have to watch the 2021 premiership from my house. So if they can make it this year, I'd love to get down and see how they go.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this is the year for Melbourne to win a premiership. And they've got a long time to win. I think there's probably about 4 years now where the door's going to be open to win as many premierships as you can, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a dynasty. But yeah, we'll have to say coming into the year, I think Melbourne has the best players on probably other than Sydney. I think you have the best list. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it's crazy. Like before, you could probably remember the midfields that I used to watch running around were atrocious for the D's. Like some of the names, they're just forgotten AFL footballers. They were heroes to me, but there was like your Jordan Gisberts and your Viv Mitchies and your Rowan Bales were running around in our midfield, and it was only really sort of Nathan Jones holding up his end of the bargain. And yeah, all these blokes that I've mentioned that no one really remembers were my idols. But to sort of get 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the track, and now we've got Petrarca, Oliver, Gorn, Viney. The team is just scattered with talent, and they're some of the best players in the competition. Like it never used to happen. Like when I used to watch the Footy Show or the Front Bar or before the game growing up, no one ever mentioned Melbourne players as some of the best players in the comp, and now there's sort of 3 or 4 of them in the top 10. So yeah, super lucky to watch them week in, week out. They're very, very inspiring. I love the way they go about it. And yeah, I feel like this list, it's so talented that it deserves more than one flag. So I don't want to be too greedy because we waited 57 years just to get that flag. So I don't want to sit here saying, oh, we deserve more, we deserve more. I'm very grateful for what they have achieved, but I feel like they'd be leaving one more on the table if they didn't quite collect a second. So yeah, super excited to see if they can do it this season.
Yeah, and we'll head on now to the next question I'd like to ask you. And Goes All Right, are we going to see a season 2 of Goes All Right?
this is breaking news. We are not. So your show,
Wait,
your
what?
favourite, it didn't get up.
Wait, you're
so
joking.
no, I'm not. I wish I was kidding. This is a genuine scoop, and I might have to check with Producy to see whether I can leave this part in. But
We'll have to see.
yeah. So Spotify, they're not going to go with the second season of the show. Essentially, they've had a lot of like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like their value dropped over like the last 6 months, and they lost like heaps of coin, and they've let off like a load of people. If you just Google Spotify and you click on the news section, you'll see everything that's happening there. But yeah, the show got the chop. So there's been discussions on what we can do this season. I don't know what we're going to do this year. There's been discussions of potentially doing another potty, or I think I'm potentially pottied out. I had no meat on the cleats in 2020. I had the back pocket plugger potty with me and Connor in 2021. And then I had Goes All Right in 2022. So I feel like I'm almost used my podcast tokens. I've almost run out of podcasts. So yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to do this year, but it's a bit of a watch this space because there could be something new down the line. But yeah, it Goes All Right with Spotify won't be happening this season, unfortunately. How you feel about that, Menza?
I'm honestly shocked. I did not expect to hear that. I thought it was honestly pretty successful.
It was
Wow.
going okay. We had started quite well. We built a pretty good foundation, but it just wasn't enough to tick us over to the second season, given what Spotify have gone through over the last sort of 12 months. So, yeah, it is what it is. I was really thankful for the opportunity, and I felt like we finally got the wheels in motion. I felt like the show finally got a little bit of momentum towards the end of the season, and we had a lot of plans going into this year to sort of make it bigger and better. So potentially we get to do that. Yeah, I'm just sort of speaking out loud here. None of this is set in stone, but potentially we could, do that with another show. Potentially, maybe we could do the show, but not with Spotify. There's still a lot of water to go under the bridge. So yeah, well, I guess we'll find out in the next couple of months. You'll see, yeah, what I get up to. But it is what it is.
Wow, I did not expect that answer at all. Wow. All right. I'm just gonna let that sink in for a second. I did not expect to get some
That's a
pretty.
legitimate scoop. If I double check and I'm allowed to say that,
Yeah,
you
I
can
will.
you can keep that in. If I'll check after this.
Yeah, yeah. AFL
Men's at
20.
the newsbreaker.
Oh wow, this is heavy news. I reckon this is the biggest news I've ever. Everything goes well. Jeez. AFL 23 got released earlier this week. What are your thoughts on it? Because we've only got about 5 photos and the pre-order has come out. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Exciting, very exciting. I think if they could just get the basics down pat, it'll be a really good game. So I know that it's the same people that made AFL Live, and the people who made AFL Live, there wasn't like a career mode, which was like so frustrating. But the basic gameplay was elite. Like it was just so elite. So if they can just nail the basic gameplay, I think people will be happy. It's never. I don't. It's not going to have Ultimate Team really. I know people want that to happen. It's not going to have pro clubs or my park. It's just never going to have those things. I think if they can nail the online where it's not laggy, like I play FIFA, NHL, NBA 2K, and when you play online, it doesn't lag at all, and it's like you're playing with your mate next to you, and that's unbelievable. I love playing online, but when I play AFL Evolution 2, yeah, it's so laggy and so frustrating, and um, if someone has the lag, they can beat you by 150 points. But then if you are like the home server, you can do it to them. Like it's quite annoying. So if they could just nail like a good online, a basic gameplay, I feel like it could be successful. But yeah, you're never going to convert those people that want it to be FIFA standard. Like if they're going into you know this game thinking it's going to be like FIFA, they're just going to be disappointed. So if you just go in with an open mind, hoping to play like a pretty bang average but good AFL game, I think you'll have a lot of fun. And I can't wait to make content with it.
Yeah, there's been some pretty atrocious AFL games in the past because it's such a hard game to recreate. It's not like it's soccer where it's pretty stock standard. Like the ball, it
Mm,
moves in one direction. The footy ball, it's so weird. It's go any direction you want or you don't want. Um, and yeah, I feel like it's a hard game to recreate. And I do understand that the the tiny little Australian gameplay people, they're not going to
mm.
recreate the next FIFA or the next 2K. It's just not going to happen. But I do expect a couple of things from this game and
Yeah,
be,
what do you want? What
the
do you want
better
from
the
it?
better graphics because AFL
Mm.
Evo, the graphics were pretty awful. Like they were average, but AFL Live pretty much had the same graphics that
Yeah,
AFL
yeah.
Evolution 2 had. And some of the stuff that uh, Big Ant and all that stuff have been producing, like Cricket 22 and although that tennis game even, they're all quite
Mm.
high quality graphics compared to Evo. So I think stadium builders a good thing to have in. Build your own AFL stadiums. I like that
Yeah,
idea.
so you can do
Um,
that in this one.
yeah, I think it's already been leaked. At least that's what people have been saying. It's already
Yeah,
a
I think
stadium
you
builder.
can.
But what do you expect from the new game? What different things do you expect from Evo?
Um, I like how you can make like your own teams and your own players and stuff. I've tried to do that on FIFA before, and it's so much harder than doing it on AFL Evo. So I like that you can customize like whatever you want. Can you make jumpers in this one? I think potentially.
I think
I don't.
you could make jumpers in the old one, but it was pretty
Yeah.
stock standard. It was like just
Oh yeah.
just
Yeah.
random, pretty like
I-
just the AFL jumpers, just different colours.
I'd love to make my own jumpers in a game. I think that'd be really cool. Um, I don't know. I just want stock standard gameplay, and that's it really. Like a good online, pretty stock standard gameplay. I don't need a riveting career mode or anything. Like I will play it, and hopefully it is better than what it is normally. But it doesn't have to be anything world breaking. Then I'd be pretty content.
Yeah, and um, just one of the last few questions is can we expect from you in 2023? What do we expect from your channel? Um, basically over 2023?
It's a good question. Look, to be honest, it's I'm sort of it's been a little bit tough over the last couple of years to make content. Like we went through COVID, and that like strangled the channel. And then last year was quite difficult because I had the podcast. Like I couldn't. I don't think I juggled both things that well. I felt like my best YouTube videos were some of the best I've ever made, but I don't think I put out good YouTube content consistently enough. I filled my channel with a lot of vlogs and a lot of potty clips and whatnot, and I feel like it got a little bit cluttered. Um, so I wasn't. So even though some of my best videos last year, I think, are some of the best the channel's has seen. Um, yeah, I felt like last year was a little bit disappointing. So I'm almost optimistic because potentially, if the podcast, doesn't go ahead, I feel like I could almost dedicate myself to YouTube for the year, and um, I haven't been able to do that since 2019, and that was one of my most successful years on YouTube. So um, I really want to make high quality stuff, not quantity. I want to spend half my week making high quality YouTube content, and then half my week doing little bits and bobs for the AFL or doing little bits, brand deals and whatnot to make a living. So I sort of want to, do high quality YouTube videos consistently, and then sort of do odd jobs for my Instagram and whatnot to keep McDonald Enterprises afloat. So yeah, I'm super excited. I want to bring back the live streams. I didn't really do them consistently for a while, so every Friday night I want to get back on the horse and do my live streams. I'm going to bring back the game day vlogs. They're some of my favourite bits of content. And I just want to hammer really good, high quality YouTube videos and get them just flying out the wazoo. That would be the game, the aim of the game. And then if I can do that consistently, I think the channel can look a little bit more healthier than what it's looked in the last couple of years. But yeah, I just love entertaining like the audience. I love that, there's people like yourself and other people in the community that race home from school and get excited for AFL content. And I think it's amazing looking at the community now and looking at everyone who's making AFL content. It's in the best place it's ever been, and it's only going to get better with the more TikTokers and the more sort of content creators that hop on board. I think, the more the merrier. Like the more people making this sort of content, the more everyone benefits. So I'm super excited for this year, and can't wait to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And we'll head on to the last bit of the interview. We're just going to play a quick little game.
Oh boy!
And the quick game, it's not really a game. It's called shit calls. So pretty much, you give me 3 shit calls, and at the end of the year, we'll see if your calls were correct. They don't have to be like terrible. Just shit calls that seem bad but could come true. So we'll say, what are your answers to that? 3 shitty calls.
Sydney won't make the 8.
Oh, okay.
So Sydney won't make the 8. I'm going to say Bailey Fritsch kicks 60 plus goals. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say Charlie Curnow will kick 100 goals. That's my other, because no players do that. So, and then I'm going to say the Tasmanian team doesn't get its license. I don't think we need another team.
Yeah. Oh, that's some good calls. That's some good calls.
So I feel sorry for Football Sirens because he probably needs a team down there for him. But I don't think Tassie will get one.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Caden, so much for being on the interview today. Thanks for hopping on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone go subscribe to Caden. I think pretty much everyone that's subscribed to me is probably subscribed to Caden already. So thanks, Caden, for being on the show.
Menza, I really appreciate it, mate. We got to get some AFL 23 content going. Me and you, a big clash. I'll play as the Ds, and I'm pumped to collab with you whenever you need. And keep smashing your content, mate. It's been unbelievable to watch the last little bit, and you're in for a big year. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Richmond versus Carlton at the MCG, 7:20 p.m. Richmond, of course, had a lot of ins throughout the off-season and building up quite a strong midfield with Taranto and Hopper Carlton, they've pretty much got the same list as last year. They do have the Brownlow medalists, so I'm tipping Carlton mainly because I think they're just a more skilled team and they'll get the win out there quite easily. I don't think it's really an upset. I know just a lot of people are picking Richmond, but I'm going for Carlton. And, well, for my big call of this week, yes, the big goals are coming back. I only did them last week, but my big call is Carlton wins by 20 plus points. That is my big call for this week, so Carlton to win that one. Next up is the return of Friday night footy, and we're back at the MCG for 7:40pm. Cutters versus the Pies. It should be pretty simple. What everyone's picking is this one. Collingwood have a great list, but I don't really think they have much chance coming up against a really good Geelong team and like a super duper good Geelong team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cats get top 4. I don't think they got the chance to win the premiership, but I'll go the Cats to win it against the Pies. Next up, we have North Melbourne versus West Coast. First game at Marvel Stadium at 1:45pm. West Coast, they haven't really done much with their list over the trade period. And North Melbourne really just focusing on the draft. I'm going for North Melbourne. I just don't think the Eagles have it in them. I think they're still going to have that slow, shitty type of football that they had last year. But North Melbourne, they've got some new ins, and they're pretty damn good. So I'm going to tip North Melbourne to beat against West Coast. Next up, we have the first game at the Adelaide Oval with Port Adelaide taking on the Brisbane Lions. Port Adelaide, they should be a bit better this year. I mean, everyone's expecting them to be a bit better than last year, but it's pretty simple who I'm going to decide. It's really currently one of the best teams of the AFL, Brisbane Lions. They're going to go really far this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Dunkley kicks a couple of snags, probably 3. But yeah, I'll tip Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval. Next up, we have Melbourne versus the Bulldogs. I'll actually be at this game, 7:25pm at the G. I'm going to go Melbourne for this. It's the simple choice. I just don't think the Bulldogs have it in them to beat the best team in the AFL. I have said it a couple of times. Melbourne is the best team in the AFL. And they're going to win the premiership this year as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to pick Melbourne. Should be an easy win against the Dogs. And then the first game at the newly named Heritage Bank Stadium at 8pm. The Suns taking on the Swans. And I'm actually going to go for an upset here. I'm going to pick the Suns to beat the Swans. I don't know how the Swans are going to go after their disappointing grand final trip last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're a bit shaky at the start of the year. So I'm going to pick the Suns to win against the Swans. I'm pretty sure that's a decent little upset there. And then we head on to the Sunday games. Giant Stadium at 1:10 against the Crows. I'm going to go the Crows here. Should be a pretty simple win. The Giants, they just don't seem to have the best list in the world. I mean, as I said, when they're on, they're on. But I think the Crows honestly have a better list. And some people have been picking Crows to make the 8, which I don't mind. I really don't mind that. Anyway, we will head on to my Hawks' first game. Come on, against the Dons, 3:20pm at the MCG. You wouldn't believe the scenes. We are going to absolutely obliterate the Dons. I'm picking Hawthorn. Maybe not obliterate them, but we're definitely going to beat them. And I wouldn't say by a sizable margin. I'd say it's going to be a decently close game. But the Hawks are going to get their first win. I'm super, super excited to see the Hawks go. And St Kilda's first game with their new 150-year badge at 4:40pm at Marvel Stadium. I'm going to select the Dockers, though. I just don't think the Saints have to beat the Dockers. The Dockers are going to be a top-tier team this year. But yeah, we'll have to see how they go.